been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife.
I'm sorry. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. I'm Ash. He's Brent. If you haven't ever watched or listened, welcome to the show. We're on Magic. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. If you'd like to comment, get online. If you'd like to call us, the number is 361-894-4020. We encourage your calls. Today is going to be a good show.
I apologize for not just being Johnny on the spot there. As we got back, I just ran into all the little nuances after Storm Wilson came through here. I was listening that morning and I heard Woodrow go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and I just heard clank, clank, clank as the studio fell apart. But I'm back. Glad to be here. The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Feed for everything you need. Certainly lawn and garden related. Chickens, feed, scratch.
Dog food, cat food.
Absolutely. They've got it all. Deerland Feed. Go back and see Jackie Parsons.
Rodent. Just resultants.
Many of you and me, I mean, city dwellers, you're thinking to yourself, what do I need a feed store for? They've got, round bale containers and fence panels and gates.
Barbed wire.
If you go there, you'll go, I need that. That's handy. I didn't, because it's professional grade stuff.
Yeah. I mean, really, you can go.
That you can have at your, tell me, Cody.
The trip for the funnel alone's worth it.
Well, it's a beautiful place. It
still
smells,
just 99 cents.
It just smells great. It's a beautiful place.
But here's the thing. They've got stuff at like Lowe's and the big box stores.
Yeah.
You want stuff that really works?
Oh, that's exactly right.
Go to Deerland Feed.
Yeah. Lowe's is the Harbor Freight.
Yeah. You can get Roundup there, but
sure.
Go get the real Roundup.
Go get what's it called? Demon. No, that's for killing bugs. Honcho is the real deal. Get you, it's like use 2 drops for a 50-gallon container.
Yeah, if you use 3, it's napalm.
Absolutely. You can eradicate
Don't use it in direct sunlight.
Did you say killing bugs or killing pugs?
Either way.
Oh, okay.
Bugs. 67 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of 83 under cloudy, turning to windy skies. Lots to talk about today. We're back. Excited to be back. You want to start with the El Salvadoran guy?
Yeah, let's go there. Amanda King, Ricky King, Greg Garcia. It's interesting. I think yesterday Greg and his wife were the first 2 in, and today it's Ricky and his wife. Interesting that they're probably sitting next to each other
somewhere
on their phones.
Like at a Denny's.
Yeah. They're on the podium this morning. Scott Tomko, Marvin Mickers, Bobby Leister, Ryan Hopping. Good morning to you, sir.
Why not morning buds?
Maybe he didn't know you were back.
I don't know. I'm standing right
typed
here.
it right before the video came.
Does the shirt make me look thin? I mean, I'm right here.
That's not camo, so they can see you.
Right. Judge Posey, good morning,
Scott
bud.
Snow, Mark Kurtz. There's Monty Howard, good morning. Stephanie Cotty, Lisa Poole, Randy Langston. There you go. You're
that guy when you're doing like
before you even said something.
Thank you, sir.
He had already changed it because he saw you.
Thank you, my friend.
Brad Mitchell in early, Jarrett McCrugen, good morning, Junior, Sherry Jacobs, Tammy Keeling, Carter Castaneda.
Boy,
Steven.
Tammy, I thought about you yesterday. I saw 5,000 Tammy Keelings yesterday. Just an amazing assemblage of well-meaning folks in Austin. I look at you're that guy. Like, remember Harry Carey would go, I used to go, how does he know? Because I was so young. But like a ball would be a foul ball down the right field line, caught by a lady from, pick someplace in Illinois, not Chicago, Champaign. Like, how did he know? He didn't know. He just made it up.
Yeah, but people didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tammy Williams, BJ Nelson, Torm Bales, Junior Samples, David Glass, Mark Zapata, Stephen Castaneda.
Hi, Carter. Yeah.
There we go. It is tough to beat Scott Tomko as the first in the morning. He's right there every time.
I've made a conscious decision to avoid certain comments on the program just because I've been told that they're beneath the program. So there is a statement here that is a statement of facts. As vouchers passed the House, Louderback voted for vouchers and opposed an amendment to send the decision on vouchers to the voters. I want to start right there because I was there. And I can tell you that the idea to send the vote for vouchers to the public is a clown show.
But they ended up tabling, I think, every vote, every amendment, but the first one.
That's all Robert's Rule of Order. It's all very complicated garbage. But at the end of the day, the legislatures are empowered by and charged by the Texas Constitution to make this call. It is not something that you decide along the way, ooh, this one's sticky. No matter which way I vote, I'm going to upset somebody in my district. So let's just send it to the voters. The same legislators, some of whom were whining to send it to the voters, moments earlier, while I was in attendance, approved a $10 billion influx to the school system, to the school funding mechanism. They increased the amount of that from 30 to 40. The increase of 40% of it has to go to the teacher salaries. It provided for new avenues for special ed. It provided for librarian raises. $10 billion. No need to go to the voters. They didn't mind at all spending your $10 billion. They bring up a $1 billion voucher.
It needs to go to
voters. No, I can't vote on that. This is just such a lightning rod. That's why we elected them. We elected them to fight it out with decorum, with rules of order, with parliamentary procedure, with amendments. That's their job. And the reason it's their job is that the majority of the Texas public is stupid. Not stupid, ignorant. And they won't arm themselves.
Uneducated.
They won't arm themselves with intelligence. So at the end of the day, the largest school funding bond ever passed. I will give some key points on that.
But real quick, both candidates in the Republican primary and the runoff
all agreed on the way up. We're voting for vouchers.
Yes.
The vote was a done deal. How it was amended was part of the deal. So I'm not going to beat the rest of the dead horse. I'm not going to be your sounding board. Get your own radio show. At the end of the day, Brad Buckley did a great job of laying out what they wanted to do. I have concerns about the voucher program. It did bother me. I don't understand how 100,000 vouchers, it's $1 billion. It's going to this, it's going to that. And routinely they said in the next biennium, that'll be $7.2 billion. How is that? Are we going to give 70,000 vouchers next time? Because we're not. I'm sorry, 700,000 vouchers next time? Because we're not going to give that many. It's not going to happen. They had provisions in there where certain groups, for example, someone who might need to go to the Vine School has priority in the application process. I have no problem with that. There was a representative from Houston got up. His name is Dutton. Representative Dutton wanted to do it based on your priority being based on your level of impoverishment. If you're so far below the poverty line, we're going to fund you up to $30,000 a year to go to private school, because if you're in a 12-foot hole, I'm only throwing you a 10-foot rope, and that's not going to happen. And Ricky, no, I'm not. This is exactly what we said we were going to talk about today with school vouchers. Ricky, stand down. God. So at the end of the day, I still have questions about it. But the smart play yesterday and the given play, the reason that guy gave for wanting to send it to the voters was because he feared that the governor was going to retaliate against these people. Yes, BJ, exactly. Sounds like punishing people for success.
Well,
but I've got a flip side to that you may not like.
Well, and I think he was worried that he's going to be He's going to lose his political career because they're going to assume he voted for vouchers. Well, you know what? Then that's your job to educate your voters, because
That's right.
Apparently your voters are too stupid to know what you vote for.
True story. There was absolutely no logic. I can't say there's no precedent. You'd have to go back to the Mark White years, I believe. But there's no logic to referring that to the voters. Our representatives were hired based on their intent to vote a certain way, and they are there to make that decision. But at the end of the moment, I still have concerns about, and I'm not afraid of, amendments to the voucher program. And although it will not ruin our public schools, the other side of that is I have no problem at all with an amendment that says if you've got a kid currently enrolled in the 6th through the 12th grade, 6th to 11th grade, we know it's not going to affect this year, from the 6th grade on, who's already enrolled in private school, you're exempt from this program. We're not. You've already made the commitment. You've already obviously got the funds somehow. We're not trying to create affirmative action like BJ points out. I don't want to make it to where only the poorest kids can go to private school. I want to encourage every parent to have the opportunity to put their child where they think their child has the best chance to succeed. For example, if you had a child who simply had anxiety based on being in a huge school, but you don't necessarily have the means to send them to, say, St. Joe, I don't have a problem with you filing for a voucher and using that money to benefit your kid. I think over time, if we can sustain it through the, I really wonder how many people in the 5th Ward of Houston right now are going, damn right, I'm sending little Johnny to private school next year. I just don't think they are. I don't think they are. I think our public schools are going to thrive. Now, that said, it could become an enormous
Are the
expense.
private schools going to have pre- and post-school daycare?
No, but
doubt it.
The school did. The new bill, House Bill 2, I think, it did fund all-day kindergarten, which is great. The most important legislation, in my opinion, that happened, countless. I have numerous friends that are in education at the administrative level. Principals, I call those administrators, even though they teach. I've had numerous, you've been there when we've had the conversations. Oh, tell us a story. Tell us a story. Oh, yeah. Had a kid. I got a runner. He's a 2nd grader. He decides he didn't want to do what the teacher's doing. He just gets up and runs out of the classroom, runs down the hall, runs straight out the front door, runs out in the parking lot. Now, we have to follow that kid and talk him off the ledge. I have to get the SRO, which they share with another school, to come over. I mean, I've seen this person walking down the street with this kid, like doing, get off me, to the principal. You can now send that kid to out of school suspension. How many times did you hear me and Ash say, when you send that kid home and his mom or dad has to take a day off work to go home and sit with little Billy or little Lisa, at some point they're going to get tired of that garbage and that kid's going to come back, sit down, shut up, and learn something. It's going to happen.
You would hope.
So here's the deal, because I've said, don't you have the authority in Victoria to, deliver corporal punishment? I'd take that kid back to my office and bust his fanny. I don't want that liability, because the parent that allows a kid to act that way is the parent that will sue you individually and the school district.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is that I listened as 2 people. One is Jeff Leach. Remember this name. He's a sharp dude. Jeff Leach rolled this bill out, or promoted this bill, where he said, right now, currently K through 3, you've got no recourse.
K through 2. Can't out of school. Can't kick him out of class.
I thought this one said 3, but that doesn't mean I'm right. At any rate, he said, you can now send that kid home. And they listed some possible, and if you're a constant and continuous nuisance, if you're, a distraction.
Yeah, you physically assault your teacher, or you make a terroristic threat.
Yeah, he also gets up.
Or the kid brings a gun to school.
I hope that the Senate provides for full day pre-K. But he did get up, Mr. Wu, who happens to be the chairman of the Democrat caucus. He gets up and says, your bill is too vague. The transgressions that allow you to send a child home seem to be totally up to the teacher. The teacher could have the authority to determine that what one kid does 3 or 4 times, another kid does once, and I'm sending that kid home. And Mr. Leach said, you are correct, sir. I believe in our educators. I bestow that authority upon our teachers. I defer to their judgment of what is a continual distraction in their classroom. I am empowering Texas teachers. Yes, sir, you are correct. That's what I'm doing. And this idiot Wu, this do-good liberal leftist tool, these kids don't need discipline. They need love. They need compassion. They need understanding. And Mr. Leach goes, love, compassion, and understanding is consistent discipline. I fundamentally disagree with what you think our school is there for. Jeff Leach, remember that name. He's a dude. He was not afraid to just say, and you know what? When he did
there's the problem. These are the same parents that have no boundaries with their kids and go drinking with their beer with their kids on a Saturday night when their kids in high school and all their friends. Yeah, exactly.
And the legislators openly laughed. Now, on back to the other points of humor, because they don't do a lot of humor there. It's Mr. Wyatt, for what purpose? Will the speaker yield for questions? The gentleman yields, the speaker yields. There's a lot of protocol. I'd like to make a motion to extend the time.
It needs a unanimous consent. Is there any dissent?
And on one of them, the guy goes, no. When this Tallarico bonehead was whining about
somebody
votes.
Yelled no, and then all right, that's it. Bye-bye.
They also do things as a fundamental rule of order about, are there any nays? None heard? Move on. Well, anyway, and we play that in a lot of Victoria meetings, but it's real there. But one thing Buckley said, they asked Dr. Brad Buckley, who's been a guest on our program, to talk about this very issue. Brad Buckley, they said, this was close to my heart. It's been brought up on our program. Does this $10 billion budget, with its raises for children, with its new and extended appropriations for special ed, dyslexia, English as a second language, it goes on and on and on. Does that bring us back to our teachers being compensated at 2019 levels? Because both the gentleman asking the question and Dr. Buckley worked on that legislation in 2019. And rather than the obvious answer, which we all know is no. Instead of just saying, no, it doesn't, but it's a step in the right direction. Instead of just saying that, Buckley goes down this rabbit trail, and I'm going to ask him about it, and we're going to get him back on the program.
Here's the problem I have
This is the largest budget in the history of education. This is, and so the guy goes, yes, sir, I understand that. I worked on it with you. But does it bring us back to the level of 2019?
Inflation adjusted level.
Yeah. And he goes, many districts have experienced inflation, blah, blah. And then he goes, okay, yes, sir, I understand that. But I kind of want a yes or no answer. And Buckley really did say, you can't look at school funding as a sculpture. It's not ever going to be finished. You have to look at it as a garden. It's going to be nurtured. We're planting seeds to go the right direction. And the audience, which was full of school teachers who apparently chose not to be in their classrooms that day because they're so dang committed to their schools, They're all wearing the same red shirt. It's like an organization of lunatics. Cumulatively, they just all moan, and the speaker, they're all, the gallery will refrain.
One thing I found crazy stuff, but nothing is getting back to 2019 levels. Inflation has ruined that.
Fair.
Eggs aren't ever going to drop back to $1 a dozen. Let's be honest.
No, gas is never going to be 50 cents.
No,
but I get it that private schools don't have to accept.
But you know what?
Child.
But that's the argument, right? That's the counter argument. Oh, this is because the same people that will argue they don't have to accept you will say this is just a cash grab for private schools. Well, if that were the case, they'd be accepting everybody. But now you're worried they won't accept anybody. So which is it? Is it a cash grab by the private schools? Or are they going to still remain selective and prove the point that it's not a cash grab because now they don't have to accept everybody?
Right.
The left is arguing both sides of this, and they're counterintuitive because it can't be a cash grab if they're not grabbing the cash.
Absolutely. Now, one guy did promote something. He says there's a huge, so you've got your basic allotment that went from $6,160 to $6,500 and something dollars. Totally agree it's not enough, but that is what it is.
But they never, okay.
But in addition to that,
here's the part they never tell you.
They never tell you.
The basic allotment isn't changed.
Yeah, the allotment never changes, but nobody here ever talks about, nor do I know, and nobody here can tell me how it's calculated accurately either. There's a comp. What is it called? It's called the comp allotment, comp education allotment. And what it does is, based on your socioeconomic mix, based on the folks that are in government assisted housing, based on the folks
Section 8 or where
that are on free lunch.
Makes you wonder why they put some schools where they put them now.
Oh, yeah.
Next to the Section 8 housing.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. The disparity can be large per student. DISD.
Dallas, not V.
Yeah,
Dallas.
No, Dallas ISD. Pulls in an extra $5,000 and change per student based on these demographic
Special
issues.
needs, Section 8, free lunches.
That's a great point to
bunch
bring
of
up.
stuff.
Did you know that, and you talk about ulterior motive, think about this conflict of interest. You get more money for your special ed kids. But it's Dallas ISD gets $5,000 per student more to their district. Cy-Fair ISD, another huge district, only gets $3,000 more per kid. That's $2,000 per kid. I mean, it's like $5 million a year to them. Could have gone to teachers, 40% of it. But at the end of the day, this his name was Schoolcraft, Representative Schoolcraft, got up and said, "Hey, nobody can understand this, or you'd have to make your entire life about understanding it as a legislator." And he said, what I propose Patrick Strauss wants to move on. We can't talk about the Astros, Patrick. They got beat. And by the way, this is the most important news of the day for Texas. What this guy, Schoolcraft, proposed was to take all that comp money and all of that compensatory ed funding and divide it up among every student in the state of Texas. Came up to like $1,400 and something per kid, which would now go into the basic allotment. So instead of going from 61 to 65, it would now go to like almost $8,000.
Yeah.
$8,000 a kid. And here's the catch. When people said, "Oh, you can't do that," what about the special ed kids?
What about the special ed kids?
Some districts are going to lose money. Let me tell you something. Did you know that there's no accountability measure anywhere that makes a school prove how they use their compensatory funds to help the people that brought that money in? There's no reporting that says you got $5,000 a kid.
Did you spend it on special needs?
Where
special
did you
ed
spend
teachers?
it on special ed? We want to know how you spent it. Nobody can find that. That's according to Representative Schoolcraft. The thing to mention here is there's a ton of money that's spent. The voucher program is a drop in that bucket. If it creates,
which is a terrible argument to begin with, because we spend a ton of money. Our budget's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
And we just had a $24 billion surplus, and none of that's coming back to people. I don't care what you say about relief and all this other crap.
It's exactly like when VISD raped us all for their tax grab, and it didn't come back to me, and it sure didn't show in the STAR results.
Well, it did. They gave us 11. They took 11 cents
instead
of 13. Yeah.
I gave you 2%. That is how figures lie and liars figure. No doubt about it.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah, and HR Mallory, it's actually 55%, but you are right. You are right. HR says they only have to spend 50% of the funds on special ed students. I don't know why, and I apologize for not being hip enough. And HR is certainly not being derogatory. I just can't call them SPED. I don't know why. I don't. And when I'm on Twitter and I type the word Aggies, I always capitalize the A. I'm sorry. I just take the time to say special ed. And I know it's not a put down. I just feel like if I say it, it sounds flippant, so I don't say it. Yeah.
Rob Bargenberg, 380 spent per year on STAR test.
That's not true.
It's 388 million over the last 4 years, and I don't know what that's going to.
Comes out to like $71
a kid.
Yeah. It's just a ripoff.
Yeah. The 388 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you think there's enough smart people.
I know HR. I know that, sir. And that's what HR said. I just typed it because it's faster. But my children say it. And I corrected him. The 12-year-old said, "Yeah, we really cool. I met a nice guy. You know, he's in SPED, but he's a nice guy." And I said, "Hey, don't call him SPED." "Oh no, sir, that's what they call him at school." Okay, but no,
better than what we used to call him.
Easy, but part of this deal is at some point. You look at a family like the Mallorys, made a commitment, don't have a ton of money. Do what's best for their kid.
I thought HR was like making millions.
Well, he does. Sometimes he'll settle those tickets on the spot. 50 cents on the dollar with cash. So this is not an admission
he's practicing
of guilt.
for when he's in Mexico. He takes his career to Mexico.
This is not an admission of guilt. No, but at the end of the day, we get this. The state is bogged down in benevolence rather than trying to help. Rather than giving schools more money based on the number of children enrolled in accelerated classes, rather than giving them more money based on the number of kids that make A's and B's, although the whole system could be fraught with corruption, right?
Yeah.
Everybody gets enrolled. Everybody gets an A. Let's just say that school finance at its most efficient is a huge conundrum and a huge mess. The state long ago in their constitution provided for a free public education. We know there's nothing free, and the state has been dumping money into it, trying to make it more than it was intended to be since the 1800s.
A couple of things yesterday that were that because, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but well, there's a shortage of counselors. If we took that $1 billion, we could hire 12,000 more counselors.
You don't need more counselors. You don't
First
need more
of all,
librarians.
where are you going to find 12,000 counselors to fill the shortage? You can't.
You can't.
I know a bunch that have gotten out of public education or school counseling because they can't make any money, and it's a losing battle because the parents are a pain in the ass.
Yep. Torrin Bales points out accurately the cash grab is why they've had trouble passing a bond. There's no doubt about it.
And then, well, if we took that money, we could build more of what the parents need, the career and technical schools and all these things. Wait a second. Then if the state can fund that, why do we bond that out as a school district? Oh, I don't think the state can fund that. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. They can't just throw money and say, we're going to build these schools here or there, right?
Right.
We got to bond that stuff out. So yeah, it's a false argument. That wouldn't actually result in any of that happening, because where are you going to find 12,000 school counselors. Oh, we could be putting that money into our counselor preparation programs at our universities. No, you won't.
Let's
No,
take
you
a quick
won't.
break and talk about our idiot friend, MS-13 guy from El Salvador. Folks, USA Concrete Coating, let USA come out. They can sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it. You got a concrete slab in a room. You take up the carpet and you're like, this slab just needs some work. But, I'd like to use this as a craft room. They can help you transform that room into something with a hard surface that you can use, and that you can.
When you drop those sewing needles in the carpet, then you step on it because you can't find them.
Absolutely,
that will give you something. The other thing is, it is pool season. It's warm enough.
Oh,
if you're embarrassed by your pool deck,
if you've got that old pebble grain, they can put down a soft deck for you that you'll love. Veracruz Restaurant, get in today. It's Thursday, post Caldo Wednesday, Thursday. Full menu, everything but Caldo. Get in and see them. Veracruz, don't forget them for your next catering opportunity. Yeah. Give them a call. Man, I'd like beef and I'd like mixed fajitas. I want guac. I want queso. I want the pico. I want beans and rice.
Their fajitas are so good.
They're so good, and they deliver it. The way they deliver it, you can serve it hot. It won't be mushy.
Nope.
It is great. Nothing worse in general than chicken fried steak
and homemade tortillas.
It's all fantastic. Allen's Wrecker Service.
578-6300, the number to.
Vehicle. In this region, you're good, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Are we back live? Anybody can hear us? Hello?
I think so.
Hello? White trash. Call BJ Nelson, BJ and Scott, 550-1826. And the chopping block on a Thursday. Get in and buy all the wonderful, wonderful meat selections they have. So there you go.
Good, we got back.
Thank you. Yeah. We appreciate it. I don't know why this little computer,
every once in a while,
it's got plenty of giddy up, right? And we got it from our buddy Dwayne Proctor.
Might have to give Dwayne a call and figure out why it does.
But every now and then, like in the middle of the show, it just says, "Did it ever go away, or was it always there?"
No, I think we lost sound. I don't know if we ever lost the picture, but we lost sound for a second. So
yeah.
See, we're good.
A commenter said teachers aren't teachers aren't paid a professional or a living wage. See right there, that's just a lie. But at any rate, I don't agree. I mean, every starting school teachers make more money than starting police officers.
Well, what does the left say the living wage is? $15 an hour minimum wage, right? That's what they say.
So take 200 days
times
a year.
2,080. That's your full time. $31,200. So
right,
yeah. So show me a teacher making $31,200. Except maybe at a private
nobody
school.
makes that. Teachers' aides make that. At the end of the day, I have had a thoughtful conversation with a friend of mine that's in administration who did say, hello, Ms. Helt, who did say, you need to follow up HB 6, which gives the teachers disciplinary authority. Think about it. You're letting a kid go at least until the second grade with no repercussions for their actions, none. And then you want to turn along and say, I'm not going to fund the teachers. She said, give us the discipline. Let my teachers make a good living and you'll see our schools excel. One piece of that has been done. We're working on, and I think they are working on trying to get teachers more money. I love it. I did make the comment yesterday.
You know what's funny, just real quick on that, is I know some former teachers. The only reason they got out wasn't the pay, the lack of discipline.
Absolutely.
They love what they're doing. They know they don't get paid $1 billion. They're not looking to be the next Bezos or Musk. But the kids are the problem. As much as they love the good ones, I'm not going to say they hate, they can't stand the bad ones.
My compliment of the week is from our constant, a guy that we go to for feedback often, Judge Posey, says, I have no problem with the discussion this morning. I listened to a lot of the discussion yesterday on Texas Legislature online, and you are absolutely correct in your analysis. I would love to comment further, but it is Holy Week. Amen, sir. I agree. By the way, I don't know if Ash and I are going to be here tomorrow. He hasn't told me yet, but I will tell you that we do wish you all.
I will be here.
We'll be here tomorrow, but then we'll wish it to you twice. I wish you and your family a happy and reflective Easter. I'm of the opinion that without Easter, Christmas is just another birthday. Without a resurrected Savior,
we're not saved.
We're not saved. So amen to that. And God bless you all with that thought.
El Salvador.
So this guy, the synopsis is this. Everybody's all bunched up and you got to wonder why. You got to wonder why a United States congressman who happened to be a Democrat, I'm not saying that they were related.
Well, let's start at the beginning of this guy's story. Shows up here illegally.
Yes.
Somehow, during the Trump administration, he lives in Maryland. I'm sure he saw an immigration lawyer in Maryland. He's the one that showed up for his immigration hearing.
Right. Because
the rest of them just bail. We know this. Despite the backlog of immigration cases, most of them never appear when they sign that promise to appear.
Right.
So this guy shows up probably because he knew he would get a favorable ruling and told that he was granted protected status in this country. You showed up illegally. You shouldn't be granted any status.
Right.
I don't give a crap about Geneva Conventions and all this other stuff. And as I pointed out yesterday, the only reason the gangs might have feared him or were after him and he feared the gangs
because
back
he's a
home,
gang member.
He's a gang member or he's anti-gang. If you're just putting your head down doing your job, they're not coming after you. No, you might get caught in a stray bullet in the crossfire.
But it even gets more complex.
So
let me lay it out. It gets more complex.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's here, he's deportable. But as you'll recall, while now border encounters are hugely down, no new laws, just a new president. No new laws, just a new way of doing business. While this guy's here illegally, and after the time runs for him to claim any type of asylum, he didn't claim asylum until he got caught. And he got caught once. I'll let you make the assumptions. You guys are all so fair. There were 4 men in a Home Depot parking lot. 2 guys, 2 of them were in possessions of quantities of marijuana.
But they were there looking for work.
One of them, it's 2:00 in the morning. They were just early for the truck crew shift. One of them is wearing, unbeknownst to me, a symbol of MS gang membership, a Chicago Bulls cap, and has $1,200 cash in his pocket. The other 4th man was deemed by the officer on the scene to really have no relevance here, and they sent him home. They decided the guy in the Bulls cap was an MS-13 drug dealer, and that the other 2 guys were there making a buy. Police report released yesterday. The guy in the hat with all the cash is our guy.
Meanwhile, yeah.
So he's too late to file for amnesty. And now he's got, not only is he deportable, but he's kind of also, arguably a criminal. Although I don't think he was convicted of anything. I think he was detained and then let go. He's got a girlfriend. She's pregnant. We know it's hers. We don't know it's his. They move in together. She's now his fiance. So they come and round this guy up. He'd been working construction and all that. The only thing that happened was that the ICE agent in Harlingen that put him on the plane, put him on the wrong plane. Well, he was absolutely deportable. Yeah. He absolutely had no standing. He got the stay, which back in the Biden administration meant that you could stay here forever. It was practically a green card. Nobody was going to, you got a stay of deportation.
And actually, he got his stay in 2019 on the Trump administration.
That's right. Maryland, but nobody was going to go even look at him during the Biden years.
No, but here's the other thing too. Well, he's not a gang member. If I'm not mistaken, one, maybe even two immigration judges in Maryland,
Democrats,
pretty much, probably, determined he was a gang member based on the information given to them. So now the left loves the courts when they're in their favor. Now they don't believe these judges have the ability to make that determination, or they just completely blow that off, right? But chances are, if you're a judge in Maryland, you're a Democrat.
Jonathan Williams says 4 men in a Home Depot parking lot. Sounds like the start of a joke. Was there a priest and a rabbit there as well?
Oh, anyway, no, but a rabbi.
So as it goes down, and just to give you clarification, had the ICE agent put this guy on one of the reciprocal prison recipients in Guatemala or Honduras, instead of sending him back to where the court had determined he might have some problems because he's a gang member, okay, he feared gang retaliation. That's why he didn't want to go back to El Salvador. Had he gone to Honduras or Guatemala, we're not having this conversation at all. Everything was
not
done
yet. We'd be having it when he tried to get back into this country and they caught him at the border.
Everything was done according to the law, except he wasn't supposed to go as a human rights consideration back to El Salvador. Now, you have to ask yourself, why doesn't the president of El Salvador want to let him go? And why do the Dems want him back so much? Because everybody agrees he will never, ever live in this country again legally. Everybody agrees, the courts, the left, and the right. His best chance is to go to Honduras or Guatemala and be in prison. So you got to figure this Democrat congressman that went all the way over there without an invite and apparently thought that he had some clout, was told, rebuffed by the El Salvadoran president, said, get out of here, dude. I don't need to visit with you, Wedo.
El Salvador, he's an El Salvadorian citizen.
He's a citizen of El Salvador. He's in an El Salvadorian prison. And in the same breath that, gee, bummer for him with his civil, with his objections to being there. I don't care anymore about him. Let him go.
Well, what's interesting is El Salvador doesn't think he's releasable.
No, and they're not going to let him go. They don't want him to come back to the U.S. either. And by the way, did you know?
They don't want him on their streets.
Tell me what you think this means. When the Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration must facilitate the return of this guy, they put facilitate in quotation marks. What do you think the Supreme Court meant in a 9-0 decision? Even the leftist judges said, yeah, you got to facilitate.
Ask, please, and then
we'll pay for his plane flight if you want us to have
the Trump administration has said we'll send a plane if they're willing to release him, and they won't.
Sounds like the door might get opened on the plane on the way back.
Right. So, oh, man, that plane went down.
DB Cooper 2.0.
Absolutely. It's very interesting.
It is.
Because he's not, everybody made it sound like, he's just a great guy. He's a construction worker. He's got a family here. He's got American kids. The kids, oh, come on. Come on. The guy's a gang
Just
member.
because you're a dad and have a family doesn't make you a great guy. If that were the case, CPS wouldn't exist.
You know what part of it is? If you follow this stuff at all, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't die in that El Salvadoran prison. And I also wouldn't be surprised, since the Dems sure want to get their hands on him, that he wasn't part of an MS-13 gang project promoted by the left prior to the election that may turn around and they're like, uh-oh, what if this guy gets disgruntled? We had a deal with him. What if he gets disgruntled? If you're here illegally, if you're technically deportable, and I come to you and say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, or we may have to speed up your paperwork. What if that guy's armed with those facts, and now the left is like, oh, we got to get Abierto back. Man, what if he spills the beans? Don't think for a minute that the left wouldn't kill him right there in that prison.
Wow, it's amazing that all these folks, and now the Trump administration wants to get rid of all these folks who applied via this CBP app or whatever, right?
Yeah, and by the way, Andrew Alvarez and Stephanie Connie fill in more of the blank. His girlfriend filed domestic violence abuse charges against him and then recanted.
I hadn't heard that yet.
Yeah, I heard that this morning.
The more that comes out, this guy isn't the same.
He's not a good guy, and he's an MS-13 gang
You
member.
broke the law to get in this country. Starts right there.
Yeah, go home.
At that point, in my opinion, you should have no standing as somebody who did it illegally.
That's right.
Almost any crime.
I mean, he might be
I would have been out before I became a citizen.
He might be a hell of a concrete finisher, but at the end of the day, for the left to be bleeding hard over this guy, I mean, why does the left, somebody help me? I know they've got no agenda. I know they've got no leadership. I know they're a rudderless sinking ship.
They care more about this one El Salvadorian than they do 50% of this country.
That's right.
And they certainly don't care about Lake and Riley.
They don't care about all the people that are killed by these illegals. So tell me why the left chooses these little bitty hills to die on. Why are they saying, I'm going to live or die on this hill, Ash? Why would they do that?
I don't know. It makes no sense, but it's apparent they care more about a Guatemala or an El Salvadorian here illegally,
right,
than they do about American citizens here legally.
Stephanie, with a great comment that clarifies also, says she didn't recant. She didn't show up for court. Now, this is an American woman. Totally two different things for an abused woman. I agree. Not recanting. Right. I agree. She didn't say that it didn't happen.
And now they're and now the left is parading the kids of this guy out in the public. When's Dad gonna come back?
They're Americans. Who
Question
cares?
is never.
Who cares? Couldn't care less.
Patrick Strauss says because the left has nothing else to do. They're floundering. When Bernie Sanders is now your poster child for the left,
what is he, 100?
You're going to run Bernie in the next election? Come on. He's become the face of the Democrat Party. It's laughable. We had this discussion with Woodrow Wilson the other day.
I've got one for you. This is a true story. Bernie Sanders was talking about money and the distribution of money and the redistribution of wealth. And Bernie Sanders, you're not due process when you're here illegally. You are not due process when you're here illegally. Bernie Sanders made the comment, how many houses do you need? How many houses do you need?
That's pretty good, Bernie Sanders, right there.
Well, because I can sound like an idiot when I want to. The truth is,
some will say you do every day.
Give me the pa-dum-pump over there. At least do something positive. No. There you go.
Thank you.
Bernie Sanders has 3 homes. He has his home in Vermont. He has his home in D.C. He has a lake home that his wife stole from
the college she ran into the ground and bankrupted.
And Bernie Sanders, when pressed on that by a media member, well, Senator, with all due respect, don't you have 3 homes? And Bernie's immediate response was, I'm a United States senator. That was his excuse for having 3 homes. I'm a United States senator. As he preaches, and I sent you that video, I can go back to 85. Every single year, the U.S. is heading towards an oligarchy. We're heading towards an oligarchy. He's so full of crap. The left is always hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's an oligarchy.
Except during the Democrat years. Wasn't an oligarchy there, right?
Yeah.
So take a break and talk a little bit about
That's
this.
a great story. Yeah. Folks, brand us. I tell you what, every day I find more and more capabilities out of Commander Cody. Now, he doesn't actually do these things. Certainly doesn't do them for us, but he has the ability. He goes, I can do that. I can do that. I've done that. I can do that. Call him.
And he'll give you an itemized receipt when you're done.
Absolutely. He'll borrow equipment, do it for free. If you just call Cody and ask him, what do I need to do to spruce up my website? He can help you with that. Very, very capable and a super, you know what he does for me as somebody who's not technically driven. He takes the time to say, I know you don't need to know.
To understand that.
He doesn't tell me how the watch is made, but he makes it so that I understand what time it is. And he can do that for you and help you troubleshoot your issues.
Chop and Block today, they still have all the uncooked meats for Easter on sale. You're too late to get the pre-cooked meats that you just have to take home and heat if you're, don't want to do the cooking, but they've got it all.
Absolutely.
Great prices on prime rib. I think $14.99 a pound. All sorts of great stuff.
You bet. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends, next Thursday, the 24th.
We'll be there.
1 week from today, you've got time to get a babysitter. Leave those pesky kids at home and come hang out with the kids at Palace Bingo. The cool kids will be there. It's always fun.
It is.
I know Junior will be there. I know Lisa Poole will be there. Lisa Poole goes straight from there on Thursday night at 10 o'clock and parks in the parking lot at Paravita Wellness to get in on Friday and buy the discounted
Sleeps
meals.
in her car.
Is she the one with the tent or the one in the car?
She sleeps in the car with the AC going. Yeah. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends. And lots of charities are supported because you don't win every day. Dollar Floor Store.
The Floor Trader.
Absolutely.
Get in there.
You need laminate flooring, hardwood flooring, carpet,
vinyl plank,
they
luxury
can do
vinyl
it.
plank.
They can also help you with things you don't think about. Like, you probably don't want to put that purple shag down in your bathroom. Let's don't do that. Let's talk about it. Chestnut Furniture. See why you just always do better at Chestnut.
Always.
Bobby Leon and his family serving you and yours for over 100 years.
Over 105, I believe we're into.
Yeah, like over 80 years at their current location.
Yeah.
But when you walk in, it's still fresh and new because, they always have new furniture.
Yeah.
Get by there for bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding, Sealy and Posture.
Best
Sealy
recliners, best
Stearns and
furniture.
Foster, Sealy Posturepedic. Went Services went for all your electrical needs. Period.
It's not only pool season, it's almost generator season.
Oh, and they're fantastic, fantastic folks. Get in and let them help you with, you need a new plug, you want to do a new building, you need to spec out a contractor for a job, they'll give you a quote. Call Went Services today.
That's an offer.
I already talked about that. You give them a double dip. You can't over promote That's an Offer.
First day bank Astros update. Astros lose 4-1, struggling around. They win one, lose one type of thing. They're only 3.5 back in the West. So they're not out of it, but they got to start playing a little bit better. I don't think pitching has been the real problem. They just haven't really been hitting.
Has anybody but the White Sox ever been out of it before the break?
This year, maybe the Braves and the White Sox, because both of them are struggling. Best division in baseball, National League West. Dodgers, Padres, Giants, all with double-digit wins and minuscule number of losses. Those three teams are going to be fun to watch, especially when they start playing each other. And the Hockey Half Minute for Scott Tomko. Playoff field is set last night. The Montreal Canadiens.
Flames?
No, not
Stars?
Yes.
Okay.
Rangers? No. None of my teams.
None of your teams made it?
No.
That's no problem. You're Canadian. You'll pick up another team. It's like everybody's a winner.
No, I'll just get set to watch good hockey. But
see, the P. Strauss Astros trivia. Did you know that during the Astros series with the Angels, a gentleman for the Angels got a double, and Steve Sparks pointed out that was only their 10th double as a team of the season, and that only one major league team didn't have at least 10 doubles on the year.
Was it the White Sox?
It was the Astros.
Oh.
So there you have it.
There you
By
go.
the way, your man Yordan Alvarez took about 4 weeks off before he finally hit his first home run.
Yeah. Well, Vlad Guerrero signed that big contract in Toronto. He just hit his first home run yesterday, but Toronto's off to a better start because the rest of the team is picking him up.
His right shoulder's dipping because of his wallet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You were going to talk about a point that Kathleen Leininger brought
Yeah.
up. This is great irony, but I can't help but think of it as being retribution. I can't.
But it's not.
You don't think?
I don't think so. Who's going to go after Letitia James in New York or Virginia?
She's Jasmine Crockett's accent coach.
Apparently, she owns more than one property, is the Attorney General of New York, but apparently lives in Virginia or has claimed her residency is there because the house she bought allegedly as her primary residence is there, right?
Yeah.
And so in order to get the favorable mortgage rates, she said that was her primary residence, lied. Allegedly listed her dad as her spouse on a property.
And why do that? I mean, I realize she doesn't probably make a ton of money.
Apparently enough to buy lots of properties in and around the most expensive locales to live in this country.
You think she has outside donors?
I believe there's also allegations that she's illegally used campaign contributions for some of this stuff. So
Very
I heard
interesting.
something about that yesterday. So
Couldn't happen to a better person.
Listed a multi-unit property that she bought as non-income or basically a non-business venture. And I don't remember if this is in New York or Virginia, but 4 complexes or 4 units, anything below that is fine. Anything above that is considered income-based property and basically a business. And she has more than 4 units in this property and said it was not business-based. And so apparently got favorable financing for that as well. So she's in a whole host of trouble for somebody who accused Donald Trump of lying on all his paperwork to the government, to a bank.
You know, though, I've been listening to other outlets while I've been on the road this week, and I've noticed that the left really no longer talks about Elon Musk because it's not going away. They've quit talking about Elon. They've quit.
Well, because they sent 6 women up into sort of space.
Careful. Just
sort of space.
It wasn't that funny.
No, I'm not going there.
Okay.
But I'm just saying the
kids are in school, though.
Yeah, I know. But I don't get how flying somebody up high
big deal
was a feat because they weren't the first all-women crew.
They are astronauts. They're not astronauts. They're rich people on an aircraft.
That's all they were.
But the left quit talking about climate change, Elon Musk. They've quit talking about what else? I mean,
well, gee, Trump's been elected and the climate hasn't gone to crap yet. So obviously climate change is a hoax.
Talking about the price of eggs. Patrick Strauss, I don't think there's any chance Walker is another Abreu, but I will tell you this. Walker is absolutely rock solid in the field, and I'll take that over. His average is as good as Singleton's, so we're not hurting. I'm not saying that for $20 million we don't deserve more. I'm saying that from a production standpoint, we've got a better glove and at least as good a bat. So
yeah, I think he'll figure it out. Yeah. So just was looking at everything. I think we've got everything that we needed to talk about today. So we're good.
There's my guy. There's Riker, the Wonder Dog.
I thought I was your guy.
Riker's got a Facebook page. I don't ever pet you like this. Riker's got a Facebook page. If you guys go check out Riker, the Wonder Dog.
Jared McCrugan says all the biggest Green Warriors have 4 to 5 houses with AC, travel on private planes and diesel yachts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they all do. And it's always hilarious to watch like John Kerry fly around on a private jet to save the planet. Because what is for me does not affect thee.
No,
that's the way the hypocritical left operates. And that's a great place for us to jump off. Folks, we love you. I hope you have a great day. Go win today. No school choice. Love you guys.
Can't win the rest of the week if you don't win Thursday.
There's Donnie.
Bye, folks.
Well, I've been kicked out of